thank God it's Friday and
Yes.
that none of us owns stock in Tesla. Welcome to
Which one?
Oh, do you own stock in Tesla, Lisa?
Oh, I thought you said one of us owns stock in Tesla.
No. Anyway, we're part of the DemCast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz-Mills, along with Kara Lee and Eliza Worthington of crooksandliars.com. And, I don't own stock in Tesla, but I did test drive one last week.
Oh, really?
Well, I want to buy, my 16-year-old car is like not going to make it much longer, and I need to buy a new one. And I don't want to invest in old technology. It's time to go electric, I think. And even gas guzzling cars, even fossil fuel driven cars are just too expensive now anyway, so the sticker shock isn't so bad. So we decided that we would benchmark the search by starting with the Tesla to see how it drove and how that was. And now we're going to try some of these other ones, especially these new ones that are coming on the market now.
Yeah.
I saw a very good tweet last night where somebody said that it doesn't make good business sense for a man whose clientele is mostly liberals money to be trolling, to buy Twitter and troll them, especially when all these other better funded automakers, he may be, his company on paper is worth $1 trillion, but every other automaker on the planet is better funded than he is. And they're all coming out now with electrics. You know?
Even before his bid to, hostile takeover for Twitter, I had decided against buying a Tesla. I was looking at all kinds of other electric cars, or hybrid cars at least, that ran for the kind of driving I do that would be, predominantly electric, I would hardly ever need for the gas to kick in.
Right.
I wouldn't even need, I would be willing to I'd be willing to not have to get a fully, completely electric car. I'd be willing to get a hybrid plug-in because, it's rare that I, go more than 10 miles.
Right.
But
my sister and brother-in-law.
Yeah, I was already against, Tesla because Elon Musk has always been an asshole.
He has. But my sister and brother-in-law did reserve a Tesla a year ago when they made their decision to go electric. And they reserved a model that will go 400 miles because my sister,
they're beautiful cars.
Criteria was she wanted to be able to drive from Sacramento to Los Angeles,
right?
With just the usual stop at Harris Ranch to refuel, and you can do that with the long range Teslas. But they ordered the car last July, and they still don't have delivery.
So,
well, some of that can be blamed on the supply chain. I mean, Teslas are very tech heavy. So
when was the supply chain?
When was it promised, or was it not? It
was originally promised in the fall of last year.
So,
and they keep pushing it back, and they keep raising the price. And she's suspecting that because
they can do that.
Oh yeah, well, not when she pre-ordered. Okay.
Right. It has to be the price she ordered it at.
Price that she ordered it at. And she thinks that people who are paying more are getting ahead of her in the line.
Oh, that's interesting. I hope that's not true.
I hope that's not true too. But she only paid $100 to reserve the car. Now it's $250 to reserve one.
Yeah.
They keep raising their like every month they raise their prices.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, I just wouldn't buy one on principle. I mean, I think I've said that in this podcast. I just won't enrich Elon Musk even $1.
which is why
You
I
know,
was like real sheepish. I test drove one.
so you
Well,
test
but that's
drove one.
okay. You test
Tell
drove
us how
one
it
and you know how
was.
it feels, and you can compare it, like you
You know,
said.
I
You
can
can use it like a
compare.
benchmark, and you can see how
Right.
other cars feel as you drive them.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
So
it's
tell
the
us
one
how it
that's been on
was.
the market the longest, so you know
Right.
it's worked out the kinks, and
Well,
you
it
know what
hasn't
it's.
actually. The Leaf has been on the market longer.
That's
The
right.
Nissan
That's
Leaf,
right. Okay.
and that's going to be one of the next ones I try because
Hmm.
I don't need the same range that my sister does. You know,
Right.
the Leaf only goes up to like 225 on a
And I
charge.
think there's the Mach E. There, the Ford has an electric one that got really high ratings in Consumer
You
Reports.
can't get the Mustang Mach E in Los Angeles for under 60,000
Yikes.
because the
So,
only ones on the lots are the higher, the luxury ones.
oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, never mind.
but
So
but but
how is the Tesla
the
drive?
Tesla 3, it was very, very smooth. It's
Hmm.
got like 3 modes, and I picked the mode that sounded like it would be the closest to a gas car. It's
Hmm.
very disconcerting because when, like, normally you will take your foot off the accelerator to slow it down, and it just almost immediately comes to a stop when you do that. So you have to
Yikes.
figure out. And I only had the courage to literally just drive it around the block.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of this is an expensive car, and I don't want to, so
Hmm.
Yeah, even that model is expensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that's really disconcerting about it is that there's nothing on the dash except for a tablet. And
Yeah.
you put everything on the tablet.
Right.
And because of that, the interior feels very minimalist.
Yeah.
I don't
Spartan.
like it as much as my 16-year-old Volvo with the leather panel, I mean the wooden panels and you know and the knobs and things. Where are the knobs? We like knobs and buttons and things,
Well, I mean, you can be minimalist and not be cold, but
You can't.
it
Now,
sounds like it's
yesterday at the
just very.
grocery store, I was parked next to an Ioniq 5, which is another one that has a really good range. It can get up to 400, and
Is that
it's
a
an SUV,
Hyundai
a
or?
Hyundai. It's the one
Yeah,
Jason Bateman pitches,
yeah. That's what I thought.
and it's
Yeah.
nice. And I looked inside. I'm like, okay, it's got the screens, but it's got like
Hmm.
stuff too. I'm like,
Yeah.
So it's not all screen driven. So the only thing I read about the Hyundai, some of the Hyundais, not all of them, but some of the Hyundais and some of the Kia electrics are that
mm,
their batteries they were having problems with their batteries. So just make sure if you
yeah,
go that direction that you got that kink is worked out,
right.
before you do it.
And that's
Because
kind of cool about the Leaf. We've got a family member that is on her second Leaf,
oh
and
really?
you know, it's not a single battery. There's like different little battery components, and
Uh-huh.
when it goes dead, you just replace one of the components, to make up
Hmm.
instead of that's an interesting way to
So you have
handle
more
it.
points of failure, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because
Right,
it
No, because
doesn't
it's
disable
easier
the whole
to.
car.
right,
Yeah,
right. And
because
it's
Yeah.
my
not
brother-in-law has had a Tesla for a while, and he drove. I don't know what happened, if something was hanging from his garage ceiling or something happened to crack the top part of his windshield. And
Oh.
rather than just the way it's built, it's the entire front. It's all one piece. The entire top of the car is one piece. You can't just replace the windshield. You have to, like, it's like you take the whole top of the car off.
Holy
And it's like
moly.
a hugely expensive repair, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think you think, oh, it's one piece that makes it, efficient. And, but, really I mean, just imagine replacing the entire top of the car. It was a big deal. It's
Yeah.
like,
I have a
like,
friend
if
who
your
has a
windshield
Tesla
cracks,
and
you're screwed.
I mean, repairs generally on that car. She got rear-ended, and
Ooh.
yeah. So it was expensive too. But you know, I mean,
And this is the end of our episode of MOMocrats Talk Automotive.
Yeah.
well, you know what? I
We
mean,
can
it's a
do a
thing,
Listen,
you
it's
know,
not
right? I
it's
mean,
not
we all
irrelevant.
have cars.
we all
right?
have cars, and Elon wants to be a bigger part of our lives.
I'd just like to say that
No,
Elon
he
Musk is a
doesn't.
fucking troll, and he's already
That's what
trolling.
he wants.
And
That's
it'll
what he wants.
be,
He wants to troll us. He doesn't want to be a part of
Of course
our
he does.
lives. He wants to
Of
troll
course he
us.
does.
and
He's a
it just amazes
he's
me
fucking middle schooler.
that he made a deal where he's not supposed to badmouth like employees of Twitter
Right.
while this deal is happening. If he does, what happened, Lisa? Did you say something?
I cursed.
Narrowly said the word
I said
before
naughty
you did.
words.
It's okay.
Oh.
I keep
Elon
forgetting.
brings it out in us.
It does. So anyway, he's not supposed to actually troll the employees of Twitter, but he couldn't resist, and basically that they could stick him with a $1 billion bill and pull out of the deal if they wanted to, if he keeps doing it, and but he doesn't care. And he doesn't care that he brought down the holy wrath of God on these people, and they're getting death threats and everything else. They're employees of Twitter. This is their job, not their life, for heaven's sake.
But this is how he's treated employees at Tesla too.
I know.
Especially if they're not white men.
Exactly. So and those are the people he's been targeting at Twitter too, the
Twitter
not
too.
white men.
The not white women. Yeah.
And his plan for Twitter is to get rid of a lot of people, stop paying the board of directors, and to start charging for tweets. Monetizing the tweets that we all make. If something that we do goes viral, he gets money somehow.
And I don't know how that's going to work, to be honest, because
I don't even think Elon does.
I mean, that sounds like a troll in itself, right? Like, I'm going to charge you to tweet when it's been free for the last 15 years or however long Twitter's been around, right?
Banks gave him billions of dollars in loans based upon that pitch.
Yeah, well, he leveraged Tesla to do it, and Tesla's in the tank, so go figure.
And that's why I said it's a good thing we don't own stock.
It's true.
What I don't understand, so he's been bad-mouthing Twitter employees, which is something he's not supposed to do according to the agreement. And what?
Well, the agreement said that he can't badmouth the company. He's technically.
He badmouthed the company. I mean, he just did it aiming at employees. He broke it. It's just that, they're not going to enforce it because they want that sweet, sweet money.
Especially since their stock went down.
Twitter's
stock now is lower than the bid.
Right. Okay. And has been.
Yeah.
And somebody cited that as evidence that the deal is probably not going to go through. I disagree. I think that the deal will go through. I think Elon Musk will own Twitter. One man owning that drives me a little up the wall, but I've already made my account. I mean, I have an account already over at Mastodon, which is the federated version of Twitter. Federation being, it's broken up onto different servers. It's the same technology, but it's not all in one place. So I have an account over there.
Yeah, I need to get a Mastodon account. Last week it was Counter Social. This week I need to get over and wherever it is that people are going, I have to get an account there because I don't know where we're going to end up.
So just so you know, Counter Social is a Mastodon. It is a Mastodon server. So you can, and the idea is behind these, just the technology, just for a minute, MOMocrats are going to talk tech. Okay. The idea is that it's technology that is federated, sort of like think of it as email, right? You send email from Yahoo or Gmail or whatever your account is, and it's on that server, but it all gets to where it's supposed to be going. It's the same thing. It's like you can be on one server, but you can follow people on another. You can send it to, things like that. So it's just not all concentrated in one place. And it's all open source, and it's a much more pleasant place to be. I'm on a server called democracy.town.
Okay.
And it's a
You get to
progressive,
choose your server?
yeah, and it's a progressive server. You have to actually be approved to get on it, but anybody that I recommend will be approved. That's not going to be a problem. But
Okay.
Do
it's
we
a
need your
very pleasant
recommendation to
place.
get on it?
Do you need to
No,
refer us?
no, but
Okay.
I mean I will if I have to. But I just say that in the application it asks for you to say why you want to be on that server, and you just say it. And the administrator is a really nice guy, and he just wants a pleasant place to be. I mean, there's a reminder at the beginning that they don't always talk about politics. They talk about things like guitars and music and movies,
So
like things like we
Twitter,
used
but
to in
it's
old
quirky.
Twitter,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yes.
So
I was
anyway,
a late adopter of Twitter, so I don't remember. I wasn't there when old Twitter was.
Old
I
that's too
wasn't
Twitter
part of
bad.
was so
old
much
Twitter.
fun.
Old Twitter was much
It
better
was
than current
great.
Twitter.
That was great. Old Twitter was just a blast.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was super fun and it was fast moving, but not, it wasn't so nasty all the time, I guess, for
Mhm.
lack of a better word. And
Yeah.
people it was much more of a community, and we knew that wasn't going to last.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because as soon as it was widely adopted, it's not going to last. And we did have trouble even back then with
Yeah.
trolls. And in particular, there was one troll who just was so persistent in all capital letters, always obscene usernames, right? And always aimed at women. I don't know, maybe they were experimenting for, when it was taken.
But we experienced trolls back in the analog BBS days. There
Oh,
have
of course, they've
been
always been there. Yeah,
yeah.
right. As long as life has been existing, there's been trolls. And so, all right, I didn't mean to take us off our track, but I thought it's
I
probably
don't
worth
think that is
discussing.
off our track.
Not
don't-
today.
I mean, I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think it's. I mean,
I
it's
took us
important.
off our track talking cars.
Oh, cars are fun too.
Cars are
Actually,
fun.
I actually really like cars. It's always been a thing for me. Like,
They're fun.
not necessarily to own, but I always like. Tim laughs because I like the car auctions on cable. Like, I watch the vintage car auctions and stuff
Oh,
because I
really?
like them. I think they're cool. So anyway,
Well, my favorite issue of Consumer Reports is always the car issue.
I love the car issue too.
Car issue is great.
Yeah.
But I think you guys know I used to write for an automotive site.
Yes,
Oh,
I
no.
did. I did know that.
Yeah.
Which one?
Ask Patty, which was automotive reviews for women.
Yeah.
So
Rock on.
So that
Yeah.
was a fun time.
That is fun.
Yeah, they would drop cars off at my house and let me have them for a week. And
All right.
Yeah, I got to drive. A what is it? It was a GM. It was an SUV, but it was a big one, like
Yeah.
the
I
big
know
giant one. I got to drive
Yeah.
that one up to Vlogger.
yeah,
That was fun.
that
Cool.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when they
So-
were really doing outreach to women bloggers and trying to figure out what to do, with
Mhm.
all of us and how best to.
And then in the end, they abandoned us all.
And they abandoned us all, but there were some good experiences. But
Yeah.
we've
Now
gone,
it's all Instagram influencers.
we've gone off the topic of politics enough. I'm not going to go reminiscing about the infamous Johnson and Johnson baby camp.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, I think I need to glance at our rundown and see where we.
I just did. So, Lordy, there are tapes is a good
Yeah.
place to go back to
There
politics.
are lots
Yes.
of tapes.
There are
There
many tapes.
are.
So this is the story to me, this Kevin McCarthy denying outright. We talked about this a little on Monday,
did.
denying outright that he said anything like he said. And then Rachel Maddow producing the tape, right? And with exactly those words on it.
Yeah.
Right. And then now there's more of that. Right. And he's what he's doing now is even more bizarre. I mean, it's like, yeah, I said that thing, but we're talking about this now. Like, you should just ignore that because that happened all those, all that time ago, and we're doing this now.
Yeah, all that
And
time
I'm
ago, that one time we tried to, the guy I'm going to still endorse for president
right.
tried to overthrow the
They
government.
are so confident
Cynical.
that they are going to win these midterms.
Mm-hmm.
They are so freaking confident.
Oh yeah, they think they've got it in the bag.
They think they've
Yep.
got it in the bag.
Yeah,
And
they're talking about when we win, man, the
Yeah.
January 6th thing's going out the window. We're going to investigate Biden. We're going to,
Hunter Biden.
Kamala. We're going to impeach this. We're going to.
Yeah, all those things. Sure. Tell me more.
The only way to stop them is for us to turn out.
Yeah.
In massive amounts, because
Yep.
we've got, they have passed all of these laws to make it harder to vote.
Yep.
They have passed laws that would make it easier for them to overturn a vote that they don't like.
Right.
They've got people running who are believers in the stolen election. They've got people running
In the big lie. Their state.
Who want to control the elections. Now, the organization Run for Something yesterday sent a fundraising email that they are pouring like $80 million into candidates up and down the ballot in all 50 states for elections jobs. And I didn't even hesitate to send them a donation for that.
Right. Can you put the link on MOMocrats?
I will get a link for that on MOMocrats, indeed, because that is one of the most important things that we can do in addition to showing up, in addition to getting people registered, in addition
to writing to remind you
cards and doing the canvassing and everything else that we need to do between now and November. Because this might be the last free election that we have.
Right. And going back to Kevin McCarthy for a minute and what's going on there, I mean, I want everybody to realize the disarray is in the Republican side.
You're here.
It's not being covered that way. It is not. It's always us that's in disarray, right? Always us that has the disagreements. We're not getting anything, we have the infighting and all that. That's how we're always framed. But Republicans genuinely are in disarray, and they are having a huge split. They're having a huge, and they have an echo chamber, right? Even among the echo chambers, you can see that they're in disarray. On the one hand, you have Fox News, who's always been mad, but is even worse now. And then on the other, you have
Newsmax,
OAN and Newsmax and all the online wingnut places. I mean, even Alex Jones, just FYI, somebody gave Alex Jones $1 million in Bitcoin yesterday. Right, so that he can keep going and everything. We don't know who, because Bitcoin is so fucked up that you can't actually trace anything through it, and he doesn't have to report anything because he's a private enterprise, even though he owes the Sandy Hook families a lot of money.
He can't pay them in Bitcoin, can he? I mean,
no, he can't.
It's hard to pay for much in Bitcoin.
The whole thing is a scam. I'm sorry, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the fact that he can receive $1 million with that in an undisclosed manner when he owes money to people that he's slandered and libeled,
that's right,
and defamed, is disgusting. It's gross. And this is the problem with Bitcoin. The problem is there's no accountability. It's a libertarian paradise, and anybody who wants to be a criminal can.
Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
So all these people that are trying to get you to buy Bitcoin, that's because they need to keep selling it to the next tier if they want their payments.
Right.
If they want
And
to
they
get
want to
it out for
keep,
actual cash.
right. And they want to keep mining it, with like these incredibly non-environmental, ways, basically burning the planet in order to find some crypto. No thanks. So anyway, that's my little rant on that. But back to, there's not just tapes, you guys, there's also texts,
Yes.
right? All of Mark Meadows' texts got released.
All of them?
Well, all 2,381
But
of
I thought
them.
there was still a whole
Oh, well,
bunch.
there's still, I'm talking, when I say all, I'm talking about the ones that were in the hands of the committee.
Okay.
So not the ones that he's withholding. They're still fighting over
Right.
those.
Okay.
But okay. But and those texts are incredibly damning. I haven't even been through all of them yet. But okay, we have Jason Miller, who invented the just go out and tell them it's Antifa,
Right.
right?
Right.
And we have, there's like texts from all these people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling for Marshall, MARSHALL law,
which has already been gone to the judge from last week saying, hey,
Oh my
look, she
God.
committed perjury,
right? Yeah, obviously she remembers, and she perjured herself.
I
So
just want to pitch a procedural drama to somebody called Martial Law. That'd be the name of my character.
That would be a really good one.
That sounds like Longmire, or
Yeah. Martial Law.
Justified. You could do a spin-off of Justified called
That's
Martial
right. That would
Law.
be awesome.
And his little dog Spot,
Oh, shoot. So anyway, there's a lot more in there. I haven't read them all yet, but there's no excuse for electing these Republicans again. There's no excuse. I'm sorry.
No.
They're anti-American, anti-democratic. They're poor excuses for human beings.
So why do the polls say they're going to win?
Well, because I'll just give you a couple of reasons. I first of all, I'm not sure that we should trust polls.
Right.
Okay. There was a time where I would have argued that yes, we should trust polls, but that time is over. I'm not sure that we actually should trust polls because I think that they're wildly inaccurate a lot of the time, as we saw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and especially state polls seem to be that way. So, for example, in Ohio, there was a state poll out yesterday that showed the Republican that's at the bottom of the heap in other polls winning. Right. So, who the hell knows what you do with those? The second thing is there's implicit bias in the assumption that because the out party wins in the midterms,
Right. They're looking
right,
at history.
that the out party will always win in the midterms. And I will point back to the fact that we thought we were going to win the Senate when Obama, I'm sorry, the Republicans thought they were going to win the Senate when Obama was in office, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I think there's a fallacy, but it goes across all media. All week I've been watching them just assume that Democrats are going to, lose, and Republicans are going to win. And so, and this to me creates a couple of really bad problems. One is that if we win, that the whole narrative about the election being stolen, blah, 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 is going to come back again, right? Because the media has made it like a slam dunk that they're going to win. And, I don't know what to say about that other than that they need to stop it.
So we're damned if we win or lose.
Yeah, either way, which is how they like it.
It is how they like it. And I don't mean to sound like, I hate to sound like a broken record, but again, I fucking blame the media for this.
Well,
I really do. I blame them for this. I blame them
for it to happen because they're bored with competence.
They're bored with competence. they are not liberal. I'm so tired of being of
Told that
the
they're liberal media.
stereotype that media has a left-wing bent.
Not
They
even
don't.
MSNBC
Not
is
even close.
liberal.
MSNBC doesn't, CNN doesn't, none of it. None
New
of it
York
Nope.
has a
Times
liberal bent.
doesn't.
New York Times doesn't. Even Washington Post doesn't. Don't even get me started on what they did with that crazy psycho abortion psycho who stole 115 fetuses from the way they legitimized that whole psychotic thing that happened. And that's the Washington Post.
Yeah.
Legitimizing that crazy, not even like beyond right wing extremist, like
Crazy.
I mean, it makes me want to spit fire. And this is the media that is saying they're going to win, the Republicans are going to win, the Republicans, and legitimizing the notion that the big lie isn't a big lie. That, well, so-and-so is really saying, they're saying that this election was stolen. What do you think about that man in a diner?
Gosh, I'm so
Well,
tired.
and as if that's an opinion that should carry any weight.
Do they ever
And
interview people in diners in California or New York
or Baltimore,
or Baltimore?
No.
But
No, they
I mean,
do
so
not.
then this is part of why this is why that if we lose, because they've legitimized the big lie, and they are pushing the narrative that we're going to lose, so
Yeah.
that if we win, they're just gonna, they are to blame for the legitimacy of any, for anybody else who might have possibly tapped into any critical thinking skills that they might have had. They're just going to fall back on oh no, it's big lie. They stole it. Media said
Yeah.
so. Media set
Well,
us all
yeah,
up.
that's my problem.
The media is setting everybody up to think this.
Exactly. And then we have today from the right-wing owned Politico magazine a whole huge article on those poor reporters in the White House and how they're sort of bored and frustrated because
They can't
they
become stars now because there isn't any drama in the press
right.
room.
And where is their Maggie? There's no Maggie Haberman
Yeah.
getting access to the
Thank
White House.
God. Thank God there's no Maggie Haberman.
All they have is Peter Ducey.
Which he hasn't been around that much, which is great.
Well, actually, the other Fox reporter's bad too, whoever that is.
No, but there's no fireworks like there is with Peter Ducey,
Yeah, and the funny thing is, they're like complaining that Jen Psaki speaks slowly and it, doesn't engage on a troll level, basically, is what they're complaining about.
She's a
But
professional.
I would like everybody to recall that before in the time before Biden, we had compulsive liars at that podium every day, and
No, not
I'm
every
sorry.
day.
Yeah, not every day. We had when they were there, they were compulsive liars, and otherwise they just shot press releases out, and they let the compulsive liar in chief basically handle his own press. So they miss that. They miss all the drama. They miss that moment of stardom that they might otherwise have had. When Caitlin Collins asked a question that that she didn't get an answer to or whatever. And so now Politico is writing a whole article about this so that we can all share their pain.
And their bosses are upset that we are not tuning into the news 24/7 anymore because we don't know what the madman with the nuclear button is going to do. Of course, now we've got a different madman with the nuclear button that's got us all worried, but
right. And rightly so.
Rightly so.
Yeah. So
once again, can I just say that Joe Biden and his team have handled Ukraine masterfully? that the State
Absolutely.
Department is back, NATO is back. If the Republicans win,
NATO
they
is
will
growing.
get out of NATO.
NATO's
Yeah,
Biden,
well, Marjorie Taylor Greene called NATO Nazis, NATO
yes,
country Nazis.
yes.
I mean,
She's such a fuck
and
up.
she just carelessly throws stuff like that off. I mean, really, she is stupid. I'm sorry. She doesn't have the first clue what she's saying. When she talks about stuff, it's because somebody said, say this. And so she says it.
Martial law.
Yeah.
There is a little grain of truth that she built upon, that in, I think, Mariupol, there
Yes.
a group of neo-Nazis that are in the Ukraine resistance fighting, and
Right.
we have armed them and trained them, but that is not the same as the whole country is Nazis, especially
Yeah.
a country that is led by a Jewish man
Yeah.
whose family survived the Holocaust.
Well,
Right.
she's echoing Putin's language. And
Well, exactly. She is doing exactly what Donald Trump did, and she's just reading out Putin talking points.
yeah.
And
Right.
this is
Well,
why
she's a puppet.
Tucker and all these people keep
Yeah.
showing up on Russian TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a
There was
puppet.
a time when the Republican Party would not tolerate that.
The Republican Party is in disarray is the
Yeah.
problem. I mean, and if you don't
GOP
know
in
that by now,
disarray.
let's look at Michigan, right? Where they had their convention last week, and basically the husband of the head of the Republican Party, or the former head, I don't know what is, it basically resigned, and I don't know the whole story, but there in Michigan, it's a mess. Let's just put it that way, and I'll try to get more details on that. It's just a freaking
I forgot
mess.
the guy's name. Yeah.
Go to Eclectablog, actually, and they've got everything there, on that. So on Michigan.
Yeah.
But I mean, Republicans are really messed up. They have the whole Kevin McCarthy thing that's coming out, and the tapes that are coming out on him are coming out because there's other Republicans stabbing him in the back. This is not Democrats releasing these tapes. This is Republicans releasing these tapes. And the reason they're doing that is because Kevin McCarthy actually had a conscience for a couple of days, right before he didn't. Basically, just like Mitch McConnell did before he didn't, and everything. But he actually looked at it from the standpoint of, this is bad for the country, instead of my party is my first consideration. And the knives are out for him. Just like, and I might add, the knives are out for Madison Cawthorn, right?
The guy's name is Maddock, by the way. Maddock in Michigan.
Okay.
But the guy who got booted out of the GOP leadership.
So Madison Cawthorn they're dropping Oppo and a daily basis.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He told tales out of school. He told
about the cocaine orgies.
He told about the cocaine orgies.
Well, that's my point, right? And who was he aiming at with that? That was Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
That he was taking aim at with that.
So,
yeah.
So you don't. I mean, Liz Cheney has said she's not the one who's releasing those tapes.
So I at first did think it was Liz Cheney, and I'm now thinking it wasn't. And the reason is because of these new tapes that came out. Since the first one seemed like that would be maybe Liz Cheney doing, but the other ones, why would she release those? Really, they don't do anything for her. So Scalise, I guess the other person that's come up has been
Elise.
What's her name?
Elise
Stefanik. Yeah.
She wants to be in leadership so bad.
Oh, she is cravenly ambitious.
She really is. I mean, I didn't realize how craven
she didn't used to be.
She was.
Maybe she always was. But, I mean, she used to be a fairly respectable, not
until she discovered that being respectable wouldn't get her anywhere.
Not going to get her anywhere. Yep. So maybe she was always ambitious.
Right. I mean, I think she went that direction because she thought that was where she was going to get to leadership.
Right.
And realized, she had to stab Liz Cheney in the back, and then now she's stabbing Kevin McCarthy in the back. So it's all part of that's his theory. We don't know that as fact, but I think Steve Scalise, by the way, could also be doing it, but he tends to align more with the wingnut side of the party. So
yeah, but maybe it's a power play. The Kevin isn't wingnut enough.
Right. Well, that's certainly possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they want Jim Jordan to be Speaker of the House. If that's not enough to get people out to vote, I don't know what is. Can you imagine? Jim Jordan would be Shouter of the House, right?
He would be.
That's not funny, but it is.
Oh my God! I can't even imagine. He's the least productive member. He's never passed a bill.
No legislation, right? He just gets up there and screams at people.
I don't think he's ever passed legislation.
He does what Madison Cawthorn said he was going to do, right? So Jim Jordan is all about performative messaging. That's what he does. And that's what Madison Cawthorn hired his whole staff to be, was
only performative people.
Right. And everything. So Jim Jordan is, right there, but that's working for the Republicans. It is. It's working for them. So I see that somebody said we should come up with a different name for other than Republicans in Disarray. So what are your ideas on that?
Eliza said ramshackle Republicans. That's good.
That's good, but I don't think it's
rioting Republicans. But we need a
riotous Republicans, maybe. Yeah.
We need
ridiculous Republicans
in something.
Yeah.
That's as catchy as Dems and Disarray, that we can just say all the time.
Or GOP and something.
Well, maybe we should just put this out for comments from everybody and have them leave in the comments on our YouTube channel.
What should we call it?
Yeah. And everything. So crowdsource that, puppy.
Yeah.
All right. You guys keep talking. I'm going to do this the rest of the podcast.
No, you can't do that.
Hold on.
We do have a date now for January 6th committee hearings. They're going to start on June 9th.
Yes. June 9th.
June 9th.
Yes.
Which, it's not super close to the midterms, but
we don't know how long they're going to last, do we?
Well, it's going to be
good for a month.
I don't know if that's true, because I just heard yesterday when they said June 9th, they said there's going to be also, I thought he said 9 hearings,
right?
Not necessarily one after the next in other words, not necessarily daily.
Right.
So it could be, and the thing is, you could drag it out basically all summer into August and really wreak some havoc. If what Jamie Raskin says is true, and really are blockbuster things that we don't know yet that are going to come out in these hearings. I feel like he may be hyping them a little bit because people aren't really paying attention. I hope that's not true. I hope that everything he says is absolutely true.
Everything we've heard so far has been outrageous. Even when we know how outrageous it was, every new revelation. And then the media moves on.
It seems like he's hyping it up because everybody else is accepting it as mainstream, that this is just, this was just a riot that got out of hand. People took a shit and smeared their feces on the walls of inside of Congress.
This was planned by the White House.
It was planned by our president. This was, Jamie Raskin is not hyping anything. He is appropriately outraged, and he is, and that's the level he is on is where all of us should be. And this is, he's not exaggerating anything.
I really want them to get hold of the rest of Mark Meadows' texts and see how deep Ginny
I'll bet they will.
So the thing that Raskin did, he did something with Jim Wallace at Sojourners, and that's where he made the news that we were talking about on Monday. Right. But he
right.
he used the metaphor circles of sedition, which I think is a great metaphor. So it's the outer circle was the public, and then the middle circle was the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists and everything. And then the inner circle is the government people going all the way to the White House.
The Congress people, the senators,
right.
People in the White House.
Chief of staff.
And then he said they actually overlap.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting, so there's like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
so,
I keep getting a little bit, like my worlds are sort of colliding in my mind because I'm listening to Unthinkable. I'm listening to his book, to Jamie Raskin's book right now, and where he's talking about the impeachment trial, where he was the lead impeachment manager, and he's talking about the gathering of all the evidence for January 6th. But I'm conflating that with like the news that's going on right now. Like his role is different on what's going on with the January 6th committee. So like I have to like separate. I'm like when I'm listening to him in the car, I'm like sometimes thinking, okay, like, this is news that's happening right now, but it's not. It's like I'm like this was him preparing for the impeachment.
Yeah, but this is an outgrowth. I mean, they're related.
Yeah, of course they're related, but it's just like it's a weird time to be reading that book right now because I'm like, I see him on the news and I'm like, yeah, he's talking about, and I'm thinking about what I just heard in the book, and I'm like, no,
actually recommend that book to everybody to read ahead of the hearings because it's really good and
and he explains things so well.
You feel like you're there. I mean, you feel like you're in the middle of it when he describes what it was like to be there at that time and to be worried about his kids. And, you know, it brings back all of the fear that all of us felt, fear, anger, rage, all that. And I think it's worth hanging on to that a little bit, you know, and staying, you know, staying on it.
Yeah. We have
but it's also worth hanging on to the impeachment trial itself, the way that his team worked so hard to put together the arguments and the absolute heinous nature of what happened. You know, forget about what we've already learned since then, right? The heinous nature of a coup, of the plotting of the coup, and you know what they were trying to explain and how they put together the presentation and the 13-minute video and the how Stacey Plaskett worked and Ted Lieu and all, just Cicilline and all the way that entire team worked was really interesting to listen to, and then compared to Trump's team and what they would get up and say, and what an absolute clown show that was really, really interesting. And it's so educational, and it's a really good preview of what we're going to see at the hearings too, because he talks about the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he talks about Jim Jordan, and he talks about their motives and how they behave, and
he had some things to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday on the House floor too.
Yes, he did. He definitely did. We have the whole piece of that. And yeah, he was on fire. Unfortunately, somebody asked for his words to be taken down, and then he came back and said, "Okay, fine, take them down." So they're taken out of the record, but we still have the video.
Yeah,
can't unring the bell.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he even apologized.
Hi, Dave.
He had to get them.
I was trying not to be noticed. I'm sorry.
You can't not notice him.
Crawl across the floor. Would you see me?
No, that's okay. Right. Although he did bring me my coffee.
That's right.
Oh, shoot.
He's a cute secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine just snuck out the back door a few minutes ago too. So
without being seen, probably, I noticed.
Yeah. Well, I turned the camera so you couldn't see him. So yeah.
But yeah, the book is so good. And again, he's just an amazing writer and teacher and brain. And he explains everything. He breaks down why all the GOP arguments are such horseshit. It's just, and why even the whole yelling, fire in a crowded theater is that argument doesn't work. And it's you can't falsely yell fire in a crowded theater. And certain, there are all these, he's so brilliant. I just love him. Anyway, it's my plug for that book.
We've got a little under 10 minutes left.
Okay.
We could talk about the fact that there is actually going to be a White House Correspondents' dinner this weekend. President Biden is going. And in normal times, if there wasn't a pandemic out there, I'd say that's great. It's great to have the president not be afraid of being teased by the journalists.
But he's a
and
grown-up.
vice versa. But Joe Biden is 29 years old. This latest
29 years old?
89, 79. He's 79 No, he's 79 years old. I was thinking of Omicron BA2 for some reason. The 2 was in there, and these new variants are even more contagious than the previous ones. Vice President Harris came down with it this week, and Kate Bedingfield, their communications director, it was announced today that she came down with it.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
And I read that the White House had offered the White House Correspondents Association some air purifiers for the room.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2,600 people in a ballroom, and the Correspondents Association said, "Nah, we don't need that.
We don't need them.
People are going to be unmasked. They do have to show vaccine status, but disturbing article in today's Washington Post is that the people dying of COVID now, when they're elderly, they are very, very vulnerable, and being vaxxed could help them, but a lot of totally vaxxed people are dying now in this latest wave.
So it's 15%. So it's a lot, but in the larger universe, it's still a small percentage. But the thing is, we do have antivirals now that we should be distributing. And I say this because my daughter texted me this morning and said she has COVID. And I'm like, email your doctor and get the antiviral. I mean, that's how I feel like we should have absolute access to that.
Paxlovid. Ask for it.
Right.
From your doctor.
By name.
And some doctors are not. I've seen things where people say, my doctor won't give it to me, says I don't qualify.
How do you know?
Holy hell.
Yeah, raise hell. I mean, seriously, raise the roof and raise hell and just say,
as the government says, this should be available to anyone who needs it.
What do you have to do to qualify to receive the antiviral?
So I think if my son had texted me and said that he had COVID, they would give him, because he's diabetic and he has he's immunocompromised, and he has he has colitis and Crohn's, so they would give it to him. I think she doesn't have those conditions.
If you don't have underlying conditions, then you might not.
Right, but I still say,
if you're symptomatic,
if you have the flu, right? I mean, if you have the flu, you can get Tamiflu.
Right.
As long as you're in the first 3 days, you don't have to be like immunocompromised for that.
And this is the same kind of thing as Tamiflu, only for COVID.
Right. Exactly. Right. So I told her, I said, just email and raise hell about it. And the thing is, she's directing a preschool, so she's exposed every day to little kids.
It was a matter of time for her.
Yeah, it was like the clock was ticking. At some point that was going to happen. And I'm thinking to myself that my son, who teaches elementary school and high school, is going to be in the same boat if he doesn't get he's got to get the fourth booster this
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So
And,
anyway,
the
I mean,
news is that I saw a report saying that there could be approval for children 5 and under for a vaccine.
Moderna has put
As
their
soon as-
vaccine in. Huh?
Right.
Yeah.
As early
So
as June. The question is, will parents get them the vaccine?
I hope
Because
so.
all the people who are eligible for boosters who have not gotten them, not even the first booster.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm getting my second one tomorrow.
I'm so glad you are. So glad you are. I got mine like the day that they approved it. I called the drugstore and Gareth and I got ours the following day.
I'm not eligible, and well, I got my booster in December, so I think I can't get the second
4
one.
months.
It's 6 months, right?
4 months. 4 months.
Oh, it's 4 months. I thought it was 6 months, so then I can get it. Okay, I thought I had to wait till June. Oh, then I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just get it because.
And I'd just like to say,
no, I didn't know. I thought I had to wait 6 months.
I'd just like to say that if Congress doesn't approve the extra funding for the vaccines and the and Paxlovid and the other treatments for COVID, we could all be at Schitt's Creek without a paddle. I mean, it's like that got Republicans poison pilled it in the budget.
Right.
So they're bringing it up as a separate bill. I don't know if they're going to attach it to the Ukraine funding. I'm kind of hoping they will, because are Republicans going to vote against the Ukraine funding other than the 10 that vote against everything?
Probably.
All of them? Really?
And then we had Democrats that voted against it too.
Yes, we did.
So there were two different pieces, I thought, of legislation, if I'm not mistaken. So we did have some Democrats voting against one thing, but I think they voted for the other, if I'm not mistaken. But when it's basically, you had 10 Republicans and 4 Democrats, that you just put them over to the side.
Right.
If they're going to be that extreme about this stuff, they just go sit over there and stay out of the debate, and the rest of us adults will debate it, right? I mean, that's what I think at this point.
Yeah.
On that. So
we have 3 minutes left. Any big plans for the weekend?
I'm going to get my COVID booster.
Yay! And may you not have a lot of symptoms.
Yeah, I didn't before, so I don't really anticipate having them now. I think it'll be fine.
I did with my.
I react to everything. I did
too.
I thought I was going to be home free with the last one, and then I exactly 24 hours later, I'm like, I don't feel so good.
I was just tired and achy, and I took a nap.
I had a fever. But one thing that I did do is, and some of the experts are saying that if you got Pfizer before, you should get Moderna and vice versa, because they work slightly differently and it gives you more protection if you mix them. So I got Moderna the last time because the first 3 were Pfizer, and I'm hoping that works.
I see. Well, I'm getting Moderna again because that's what I get.
But you also know that the antibodies last longer with Moderna.
Right.
So that's good too.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But, yes, they do. But I really wish that everybody would just go back to wearing a mask. I mean,
how hard
vaccine
is it?
or no vaccine? It's just, I don't care about outside. You don't have to wear a mask outside. But when you're inside, in the market, in restaurants, whatever, just wear the freaking mask. It's not that big of a deal.
Or
I just
airplane, or I've been taking the subway to go into town the last few weeks, and I've got that mask on.
Right. I mean, it's how big of a deal is it to do that? It frustrates me, like with the airlines, celebrating the fact that the mask mandate's gone. Just wear the freaking mask, and then we all feel better, and we don't have to worry so much about catching this thing.
Well, there we go. On that note, wear your effing mask.
Yes.
Right.
Our show
over your nose
at MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com. See us on our YouTube channel or find us on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates, including the link to the Go Run For It fundraiser.
And hit the like button on YouTube too.
Yeah, hit the like button on iTunes. Give us a
And
good
subscribe.
Right. This is Donna Schwartzmills saying goodbye for the MOMocrats. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the DemCast family of podcasts.